Good morning, everybody. My name is Russell Hunter with Abolitionists Rising, and I'm here with my good friend Tim Gillespie of Free the States and Abolish Abortion Oklahoma. And this video is an urgent legislative update. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the state of Oklahoma in regards to abortion, abolition, and what you can do to help establish justice in the state of Oklahoma. Really quick background. Oklahoma, for those of you who are in Oklahoma, kind of know this, and maybe outside of Oklahoma, Oklahoma is one of these states where, following the repeal of Roe v. Wade, the Dobbs decision, trigger laws went into effect, which effectively shut down all the freestanding child sacrifice centers, all the abortion mills, the abortion clinics. And so in the state of Oklahoma, abortionists are not meeting the demand for abortion. What remains in practice here is the act of abortion itself for mothers who want to terminate their children has not been criminalized. That act is not a criminal action exactly. And of course, people are ordering abortion pills. And so people still abort their babies in the state of Oklahoma. But beyond all of that, justice has not been established for the preborn fatherless. We have not criminalized the act of abortion. And we could. So here in the state of Oklahoma, we have Tim, who goes up to the Capitol on a regular basis, follows the bills, understands the makeup of the House, the Senate, the government. And he's up there tracking the bills. And, we're stoked to see what the pro-life movement, the pro-life establishment did in the year following the repeal of Roe v. Wade. Because, well, I'll just let Tim explain. In the state of Oklahoma, we have a pro-life supermajority.
Yes.
What's the makeup?
About 80%.
80%. So
and the most pro-life governor in the country.
yeah. So the leadership
Yeah.
of the Senate, the House, and the most pro-life governor. A pro-life governor who's basically said he'll sign any bill against abortion that comes on his desk.
That comes on his desk.
Any pro-life bill.
Yeah.
So basically, oftentimes abolitionists are criticized for, like pro-lifers want the same thing. But in the state of Oklahoma, if pro-lifers wanted the same thing as abolitionists, they could have gotten that already this year. They have veto-proof supermajorities in the House and in the Senate and just the Oklahoma legislature. So how many bills did they introduce this year in the session?
There were around five.
Five bills having to do with abortion.
Yes.
Pro-life bills. Any of those bills seeking equal justice, equal protection for preborn children?
Not one of them.
So what was the basic? What were they doing?
Well, there was one that was particularly bad that we'll get to in a minute. And there was one that dealt with birth control. There was they were trying to get a setup to where the pharmacists could actually prescribe birth control also. Mm-hmm. And then there were some funding bills that had to do with grants and things like that.
So there was one that was particularly egregious, and we'll just start with that real quick. What was the number on that one?
Senate Bill 834 by Julie Daniels.
All right. And what did it do?
It would have reopened the abortion clinics in Oklahoma. It would have reinstated the exceptions to the abortion ban under our state law for rape and incest and health of the mother and those things.
So basically, the year following the repeal of Roe v. Wade, you're allowed to do anything you want in the regulation of child sacrifice. What do you pro-lifers in Oklahoma want to do? Bring it back for rape, conceived children, children conceived in incest situations, and children in situations that could be described as protecting the health or the life of the mother, I suppose.
Yeah.
So before moving off of that bill, you said it was sponsored by Senator Julie Daniels.
She was the author of it, but the actual source of it was Tony Lowinger, who is the head of Oklahomans for Life and also, I guess, the vice president of National Right to Life Committee.
Yeah.
So, and he did extensive lobbying and is still lobbying now for it, even though that bill didn't get through the process.
Okay, so people know this, Tony Lounger is basically a known enemy of the abolition of abortion. He's kind of one of the most active anti-abolitionist leaders in the nation. Vice President, National Right to Life, President of Oklahomans for Life, has been down there. How long is he? I don't even, he's like a figure, right?
I have no idea. I started lobbying in 2003, and he had been down there forever then.
Yeah, it's like he was already, yeah. So, I mean, he's
probably been there ever since
they put
Roe.
the dome on it, yeah.
Well, that wasn't that long ago, actually.
Yeah, probably before the dome. It's not even a joke.
He's probably not long after Roe. He was probably involved in it.
Yeah, so this is a guy who's been funded to fight abortion in the state of Oklahoma most of his adult life. He's a leader. He's got the connections to National Right to Life, lobbying all the time, got the money, got the influence, heavily involved down there. And following the repeal of Roe v. Wade, he's the guy getting the bill. We need to bring abortion back for rape, incest, life of the mother. So essentially open up, like we shut all these abortion clinics, but we do need to reopen them for these situations, which are the situations that everyone says we need abortion for.
And no matter how well intentioned, or no matter how good their intentions are, and no matter how well they think they have closed loopholes with that, that will always get abused.
Yeah. You just kind of like, I always think if abortion's okay to kill an image bearer conceived in rape, a fatherless child, because if it's such a bad situation, well, the argument is it's such a bad situation. So it doesn't have to really be rape. It can be any such a bad situation. And plus, I just think it bears mentioning every time we possibly can. The people group on our planet who are most disregarded, most oppressed, by far, are rape-conceived human beings. Children, like these are the fatherless children that we are meant to really, this is why you have to pass tough laws to protect people that nobody wants to protect. And so this is a super evil, just egregious bill, Senate bill. That was Senate Bill 834?
834, yeah.
So Senate Bill 834, but what was its fate?
It went through the Senate committee and passed overwhelmingly through the Senate committee, but then
it's a Tony Lounger bill.
Yeah, but then people realized what they were doing, and opposition started to mount against it, so it never even got brought to the floor of the Senate for a vote. Yeah,
which is interesting. It's good because there was some opposition. Of course, you're going to have abolitionists being like, kind of like pointing out, pro-lifers are trying to bring abortion back. This is insane. So they don't want to get caught in that. But there were also some pro-life legislators bear some mentioning that themselves. They were like, this is crazy.
Yes. Yeah, Representative Olson, Senator Dom were two of the main ones that, and there were others, but that did a lot to make sure that there was enough opposition to Senate Bill 834 that Greg Treat didn't want to put it on the floor and cause his senators to have to go on the record on that and then have it not even go to the floor in the House.
Yeah, because this is politics. This is Greg Treat. I don't want me and my folks to look like the people who are bringing abortion back. So that's the fate of that bill. Of course, there's one other bill, we need to talk about it, one bill that is a pro-life bill that has not been killed, remains alive. So that's why we're making this video. What is that video, or what is that bill, and what does it do?
Senate Bill 368 was authored by Senator Garvin, and what it did was protect birth control measures, but specifically, it didn't specify abortifacient, but it would have covered abortifacient birth control. And so it made it through the Senate, went to the House, actually had more opposition in the Senate. It passed with 7 no votes in the Senate, but went through the House 90-0.
Yeah. So a bill written specifically to say, hey, we want to protect birth control post-Roe, even birth controls that are known scientifically to be abortifacient. That part of their mechanism is to make it inhospitable for a child to continue to live.
And through that process in the House, on the floor there was an amendment made to it by the House author, which was Representative Hassenbeck. And so when you have a bill that that comes out of the original chamber, the Senate, goes to the opposite chamber, the House, and the House makes a change to it. When it comes back to the Senate has to approve the change. They did not accept the amendments, which then kicks the bill into a conference committee. And how that system, it's a dangerous setup, really, and how it works. You have a certain number of senators, a certain number of representatives that are all on this conference committee, and it's not always like the normal committee meetings where you sit down, you have a recorded vote and all that. It's just they hammer out whatever change they're going to make, and then a majority of the conferees have to sign on to that change.
Yeah. So let's go back. It was
Yeah.
Garvin's bill
Yes.
at first, and then whose bill did it become?
When it goes to the Senate, gets kicked in the conference committee, all of a sudden there's a author change. It is now Senator Daniels' bill.
For
Yes.
those paying close attention,
Yes.
Senator Daniels' bill was the bill to bring abortion back, to make sure that raped, conceived children are not protected. Life of the mother is still a loophole. So it's bad. So 834 failed, but 368 passed and is moving around, and now it's back in the hands of Daniels.
Yeah.
And back under the tutelage of, I would assume, Tony Lown.
Yes. Well, and here's the dirty little secret that nothing's really dead at the state capitol until the last gavel of the session.
Yeah, especially when
Is-
you're,
Yeah, and I really question whether or not this was not their intent all along with it, because when the amendment that was put on it, I really didn't understand the purpose of it, because it really didn't change what the bill was doing at all. Actually, it did change.
But it allowed this committee to be something that could happen.
Yes, it allowed them to be able to kick it into that conference committee when it got back to the Senate. So I really kind of wonder if Tony Lounger and Julie Daniels and Jessica Garvin and Tony Hassenbeck were not working this out long before now.
Yeah. So this is, it sounds a little bit tinfoil hat here, but just you got to understand this is kind of the way things work.
That is the Capitol. If you spend any time at all at any state capitol, you're going to walk away wearing a tinfoil hat, because it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not theory there, and it's not even. They don't even try to hide it.
Yeah. There is so many different processes to basically Senate Bill 834, which is an evil bill, has failed, but we get some other less evil seeming bill to move through the process to get to the point where we can bring back the bill that was the failure bill of the national right to life.
Right.
So, all right. So that's generally the story of what's happened. So where we're at now, this is the final week of the session. Today's Monday, Monday morning. So what's going on right now in regard to the bill?
There will be a caucus meeting for the Senate Republican caucus at noon on Monday.
Okay.
They'll discuss it and they'll make a decision based on what the entire Republican caucus wants to do with the situation. But the thing is, once they make that decision, it does not take. It's a formality, really, because, like I said, there's not a meeting necessarily. They just have to sign a document. Yeah. And so if they decide to go ahead with that, they already have the language ready. They've already got it in bill form, and all that will have to happen is before they even leave the caucus room, a majority of those 5 or 6 Senate conferees will sign it, and then later that day it will get scheduled for the floor, probably on Tuesday.
Okay, so who's on the committee there?
The Senate conferees are Senator Garvin, Racino, Haste, Daniels, Treat, and Senator Hicks.
You basically just named a bunch of people who've opposed abolition and I have like a history with.
Yes.
These are the people that have basically been the pro-lifers who've been killing abolition bills for the past few sessions. All right, so that's happening today. That's why this is urgent, because this is Monday morning, and this is a meeting that's happening at noon.
Yep.
So we need to act now. We need to act right now, between now and noon, as quick as possible. And we need people to do essentially what?
People need to call their state senator. And if you're not sure who your state senator is, you can go to oklegislature.gov. That's oklegislature.gov. And in the lower right-hand corner of that homepage, I believe is where it is, there's a form that you can put your name and address into, and it'll check the voter rolls and pull you up and tell you exactly who your senator is. But you need to contact your senator. You need to contact your representative. You also need to contact, because it has to go through that same process in the House with the House conferees. They have to sign off of it, and then it'll have to go to the floor in the House. But out of those conferees, some are, you'd be wasting your time to call. But the ones that should be called are Representative Randleman, Representative Stark, and Representative Newton. And ask
Randleman, Stark, Newton.
Newton, right. And ask them to not sign off on that change.
Yeah.
But also call your representative too, in case it does make it through that conference committee, and let them know that you want them to vote no on it when it comes to the floor.
Yeah. So like the basic things, Senate Bill, what was it? I forgot the 368. So Senate Bill 368. So there's this thing that's happening at noon. And this is super important, and don't sleep on this, and don't think, oh, I'm glad they made this video because other people are going to do this. Like, you see this, you need to do this. And even if like your rep and your senator are not one of the conferees, they need to be hearing this, because the whole Capitol needs to be abuzz with, man, I'm getting emails, I'm getting phone calls about Senate Bill 368. Oh, what the heck? What's going on here? Like, they're opposing this thing.
Well, and actually, I would add to that too, even the ones, like Senator Treat, Senator Daniels, Senator Garvin, and really all of those senators that are on the conference committee don't care what you think. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, they don't care.
And some of the ones on the House side of the conference the same way, but you still need to call them because they need to know you're watching them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll be surprised if they get enough calls. Even some of the ones that are really stiff-necked about things will back off of it if they're catching a lot of heat.
They're like, man, we've been busted on this.
Yeah.
Those guys, it's out. The cat's out of the bag. We were trying to do this wicked thing and bringing abortion back. We're not getting away with it. We're getting the phone calls. We're getting the emails.
Yeah.
And that's going to shut it down. And sometimes it's kind of like, it really is just, oh, we can't do this, guys.
Yeah.
And so the meeting at noon happens, and they, instead of saying, this is the language, let's just shove it through, they go, guys, let's not do it.
Yeah.
Which would be a good outcome for us, for preborn children, and for the continued battle. Because they actually need to know that the abolitionists in the state of Oklahoma are a voting bloc, and they need to be heard from. That they need to they need to be doing things in line with what we demand, or it's their jobs. They need to know that it's tilted that way.
Yeah.
Again, just kind of begin to end where we begun. These are folks that could meet at noon and be like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to switch this bill. We're going to go for total and immediate abolition of abortion. We're going to say abortion's murder, the act of abortion. Anyone who prescribes, gets an abortion pill, takes an abortion pill. Anyone who does this is murdering a human being, and they will be guilty of murder in the state of Oklahoma. They could do that.
Yeah.
But it's not likely that they're going to do that, because these are pro-lifers. These are not abolitionists. But even pro-lifers will, if they hear from enough people, they'll hold back.
Yeah.
So this is more important than sometimes you understand. So again, they may not know exactly what to say on the phone call or in the email even after this. You can rewatch the video, but you need to act quickly. We're putting together some material that they can look at. And where's that going to be found?
On the Abolish Abortion Oklahoma page on the Free the States website. So it's freethestates.org/AAOK.
Yeah.
We'll have all the information on there that you need. But basically all you need to do, if they're the conferee, say please do not sign off on the changes to 368, Senate Bill 368. If they're not the conferee, say if it comes out of conference committee, please vote no on Senate Bill 368. Because here's the thing, whether they change it to Senate Bill 834 or whether they take it back to the original language of Senate Bill 368,
Sure.
still need to vote against it.
Yeah, this is, even if they don't change it, even if they say, okay, we're just going to keep it the way it is. This is a bill that we do not want our legislators. It's iniquity, it's wickedness, it's, hey, let's make sure that people can take pills that end the lives of their newly conceived preborn children. So urgent, 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 please do not sleep on this. Call your senator, call your rep, and share this video. And we will report back hopefully later today with the news of what happens. And right now, a lot of what's going to happen is based on whether you get involved. Any other final words?
I think that covers it.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go do it now.